Well, first of all, I make the point about how important it is to reclaim conversation. And I make that point not by scolding, but by showing the research that's very clear that there's a loss, particularly in empathy, if you don't have good old-fashioned face-to-face, eye contact kind of conversations with the people closest to you. And primarily there, I mean parents and children in the first instance. I study mothers in playgrounds who are texting and not looking at their kids on the swing. The kids are like, pulling at their sleeve, and the mothers are on their phones. Fathers who go to school track meets, and the children are crossing the finish line and trying to catch the eye of the parents, and the parents are texting just at the key moment. That's not good. That's not good. So I basically tell parents, who I think are the worst offenders, look, make places in your home, sacred spaces, the kitchen, the dining room, the car. The car is zone zero for reclaiming conversation in the family. The bedroom, your child should not go to bed with their phone. They say it's their alarm clock, but I know that they're up all night texting. It's not there, or watching stuff on their phones. And it takes away intimacy if you're an adult, and for children it takes away sleep, and it takes away time to daydream. Daydreaming for children is so important. There are baby bouncers with a slot for an iPhone. There are potty trainers with a slot for an iPhone. Children need to have eye contact, face contact. They learn to be able to read face. They need to be able to read the subtleties of body language. They need all of that. So first of all, I need to make the point of how important conversation is for developing the skills of empathy. And if you put a phone, it's a very key experiment, that if you put a phone on a table between you and another person, a phone that you've turned off and that you've turned over so that it's face down, two things will happen to that conversation. You'll start to talk about more trivial things. You won't share really what's on your mind, what's on your heart. And the second thing that happens is that the two people in the conversation feel less of a connection with each other, feel less of an empathic connection with each other. So it's not surprising that in the past 30 years, there's been a 40% decline in all the ways that we know how to measure empathy among each other, for each other, among college students. Now, these are paper and pencil tests, so they're not the be-all and end-all, but it's a start towards sounding the alarm that something is the matter. Something is the matter. And because college students come to the dining room with their phones and wanting to be with each other, and they follow what I call the rule of three. They want to be with each other and they want to be with their phones, so they don't look up to talk to another person unless they see three people have their heads up, and then they give themselves permission to look down at their phones. So they're looking up and down depending on whether or not they feel three people are looking up, and then they can look down at their phones, and then they look up to see if three people are looking up so they can still look down at their phones. That it's a recipe for not developing empathy. And then I basically make a kind of, the expression in French is a cri de coeur, a kind of cry from the heart of how important conversation is for the development of empathy in work, for collaboration, for really, being able to work and together and develop new ideas and creativity. And we just can't lose this. It's not like we can say, okay, we just won't have that. So we need to, reclaim our most human capacity to come together and talk. And I believe we will, because I believe that more and more people are seeing the cost of our texting, not talking.